everybody, we're back talking Italia. This is the expat show, and we pretty much do all our expatriate activities in Italy, about Italy, because we've been there. Mike's been there many, many years. He actually was in the process of buying a home there, really planning on doing the expat thing. And I lived there between about, I think about 8 years total, and then I have been there a couple times on vacation, and I've always kind of thought about maybe getting serious and buying me a home there or something. And we have a brother Steve who's very knowledgeable. He's actually lived there as an expatriate, and he's sometimes on the show, sometimes he's not. And he's actually on his way there at the end of the month.
Yes.
So, Mike, what what do you got for us?
Oh man, we got a great show today. It's
Oh,
we're talking about so traveling in Europe and traveling to Europe's a big deal. And what happened was, and just to fill you in on what the show's about, basically, the EU will compensate you up to 600 euros per flight. But they have to be flights over 1,500 kilometers. So the flight, it's not, you can't just do a little hop.
so it'd be the transatlantic flight over the Atlantic Ocean, really.
Yeah. So, well, what happened was,
or Oregon. You're from out of Oregon, so that's about a thousand
that's
miles.
that's got to be 3,000 miles. So what, 4,500 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So we were flying not direct. So we had a flight from Portland, Oregon, up to Seattle, Washington, and from Seattle to Amsterdam. While we were driving to Portland, we got a text from the airline that said your flight from Amsterdam to Rome is canceled. So we thought, oh well, there's no point in stopping. You know, we didn't want to miss our flight to Europe because that's the biggest leg. I think Amsterdam to Rome is like 2-hour flight, 2.5-hour flight, something like that. It's not long. So we made it to Amsterdam. They put us overnight. Now when we do international flights, we usually buy from Allianz. We buy the insurance, which is always a good deal. For an extra $40, it's really worth it because they'll cover any incidentals that happen, like if you get your flight canceled. And a lot of times the airlines, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but we've had incidents where the airlines do absolutely nothing for you. They won't get you any rooms. They won't do anything. They might give you some food vouchers, but that's about it. So we get to Amsterdam, but fortunately, KLM is who we were flying, put us up in a hotel, but we had to take, the train. So we went to the city. We had a nice time. It worked out well. Okay. But then when we were flying out of Rome on the way home, the flight had mechanical issues. We had to turn around and go back to Rome, had to spend the night in Rome, had to take, cars to and from back to the airport. We got a Uber or some I don't know, it wasn't an Uber, it was a taxi of some sort. So that was another 70 euros or whatever. But I think it was about 50 euros. But anyway, that being said, we had 3 flights. So there were 2 of us. So we went through the process of, while we're at the Rome airport, this guy happens to randomly walk by and he goes, "Hey, you guys," because there was a group of us from the airplane that were talking from the canceled flight. And he goes, "Hey, were you guys on the flight that was just canceled or delayed?" And we said, yeah. And he goes, "You can get compensated." And so I went, "Oh, baby." So, especially as retired people, we're not in a rush to get anywhere anyway. But to be fair, the time spent in Rome was really a hassle because you're not in Rome. You're at Fiumicino Airport, 30 minutes outside of Rome. There's really no place to go. You don't want to go back through security, so it's a hassle. So I ended up going through all the motions of applying for that, because 4 flights for us, that's 2,400 euro. Since there's 2 of us, we ended up getting about, I think, $2,800 American For whatever reason, I don't know why it came up to that amount, but it did. I
That's
think
almost 50%.
no, it wasn't that. That wasn't that much. It was around 1,800, and I can't remember how that worked out. The actual, I'd have to dig through the file and look it up, but I think it was around $1,800 American. So we got 1,200 from the flight out of Rome, another 600 out of the flight in Amsterdam, and so that was great. I mean, that made a big difference. I think that almost paid for our tickets. So it's just a great deal. Here's the the only downside is it took about 8 months to get the refund. So we got back in first part of November. I applied. You have like 6 months to a year to apply for the refund. I applied in January, and it's involved. It does take some time, but it's worth it. And so I applied. We'll put the links in there. And there's other information. It's pretty easy to find it. But so I applied to the EU so you have to provide receipts, proof that you had the tickets, receipts. And then the fact that we had the insurance on our tickets, we got reimbursed all our travel that wasn't covered by the EU. And so I think we end up getting about probably a total of $2,200 back. Some of that we actually put cash out for the extra, for the taxi rides and that kind of stuff. So it was well worth the time invested. And to be fair, so if you get bumped, so if your flight is canceled in Rome, you have to apply. You have to fill out some paperwork for Italy. Now, if you're in Belgium or Germany or another country, you'll have to apply in that country's system for those. And
so you have to, like at the ticket, when you go to the ticket counter, I guess they will help you with that paperwork. Is that?
No, it's all online. You have to apply online. Okay. So I'll get you those links. I've got the links I'll find them. I looked on my computer. I don't know if I have the links. I may have deleted them, but they're easy to find. We'll put the links down but the whole thing is, so if you're traveling and you're delayed like an overnight where they cancel the flight and it's the airline's fault. Now, it's not always the airline's fault. There's sometimes other things. So you'll have to figure out what applies to you and your flight.
And typically, if it's the airline's fault, they actually will. I mean, most of the time, put you up in a hotel or and a food voucher at the airport so you can eat.
And so we got that. And actually, we spent the night in Amsterdam. We had a great time. I mean, we got to see Amsterdam, a little bit of Amsterdam, not much. We spent a few hours out there. We had a flight leaving early the next morning, so it wasn't like we could just spend all night in Amsterdam. But we had a great time, got to see some of Amsterdam. So it was a really cool interlude, and we got refunded. So it was a great thing going. And it puts the airlines on notice that they just can't cancel flights. So it's a good thing, I think, in general.
and it takes the apprehension of traveling overseas when you do have these kind of safety nets.
Yeah.
And I know where I traveled to Africa, I actually got travel insurance, health insurance. If you have maybe some health issues, you're concerned about the medicine or socialized medicine, you can get, for a certain.
I can see the voodoo doctor dancing around your body in the airport.
So it's kind of
that won't happen.
No.
Good doctors. They have good doctors.
Only in Haiti.
Maybe in Haiti. What is it? Sharia?
Sharia law. That's
no. Sharia law is the Muslim thing. But what's that group down in Haiti? Sharia.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, it's some sort of
Jimmy Barbecue is running the country right now.
Who is it?
It's dictator. Well, I guess he's fighting the police, the military. Jimmy Barbecue. He became the dictator. He ended up throwing out the legitimate.
I shouldn't laugh. It's a horrible
leader.
situation. But the names are killing me.
Horrendous. The violence and the gang warfare going on. I don't know if it's been a while since I followed up, but yeah,
you were in Haiti back in, what was that, like in the late 80s? And you had
early 90s when we invaded Haiti.
Yeah, and you were actually on the security detail for what's his name?
Aristide, right?
Aristide,
We
right? I
helped. We
remember
pulled
that.
security for his speech he did in one of the villages. We helped out the State Department with his physical security, and but I mean Haiti is a beautiful country, and we would go to the ocean, and obviously we're ready for war, so we're dressed all kinds of attire and guns and everything. But the oceans were beautiful. The lobster was delicious. I mean, very beautiful
Yeah, it's
country.
just
The
yeah.
people are nice, great people. But yes, they have political issues. Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, getting back to what we're talking about here. So you can get refunded up to 600 euros per canceled flight per person. So it's really worth the while to follow the links here. If that happens, if you're traveling to Europe, Italy, if your flight gets canceled, gets delayed, and it's the airline's fault, and you fit within the guidelines of the rules, you can get refunds, and then you can get some reimbursement for if you carry travel insurance, especially traveling these long flights where you're doing multiple flights. It's really smart to get. I think it's get the insurance. We use Allianz, but I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there.
That's the one I typically get is Allianz.
I think they're the
They're
big ones.
cheap. Yeah, I mean they're relatively, depending.
Yeah, it's like 40. I think it costs us for both of us to get covered was $40, and we got reimbursed. I mean, it was not a great big amount, but it was $400 that we had paid out of our pocket for extra travel time and taxis to and from the airport and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's worth it. And then we got $1,800 refunded for the the two flights that were canceled or delayed. And yeah, so it worked out well. And so I encourage you, like I say, it took me about 8 months to get my money back, but it was well worth the wait because we got $1,800 back. And, you can put that towards whatever. You get it in the form of a check and you just cash a check and off you go.
Yeah, I
And
mean, yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and like I said, a good safety net and encourages people to travel. And I know Italy is actually really encouraging people to travel there. So
yes, I mean, the tourists, I mean, that's a huge, I mean, here's the thing, it's kind of funny when we're talking about traveling and going places. And you went to Rome and you and Kim did a bicycle tour, right? That was
yeah,
pretty wild.
that's a good story. I could tell that
But
story.
I think the thing is, when you're in Rome, when you're in some of these major tourist attractions like Rome, Venice, Florence, Naples is not so much. I mean, it does get a lot of tourism, but Naples is more of it's a little bit trickier. It's rougher for sure. It has changed a lot. Like the you wouldn't even recognize what we used to go to the Termini in Naples. Go ahead. When we used to go to the Termini in Naples, it was just a smaller train station in Piazza Mergellina. Now it's like a big deal. So the big train stations where you're taking trains and traveling by train, it's more of an exercise. It can be frustrating and confusing. Even the Italians get confused the way they do it because they use the trains a lot and they're coming and going. But it's a great way to travel using the trains. Renting a car in Rome is cheap, and renting a car in Naples is expensive, but that can change too with the different seasons and that kind of thing. But yeah, I would definitely, if you're traveling, flying to Europe, anywhere in Europe, definitely it's worth the extra $40 to get the airline insurance to cover incidentals. They don't cover the plane fare. I imagine you can get insurance that would, but the cheaper insurance, what you'll get usually covers your hotels and travel to and from the airport, incidentals, lost luggage, that kind of thing. It'll cover that. And we've been fortunate, haven't had any lost luggage that we couldn't get back. We always get it back, but we have had incidents. And I didn't know this, but when you fly from Rome to the United States and you fly into a major hub, which you will, like wherever you're flying into, you have to get your luggage. We didn't know that. We just left our luggage sitting there on the conveyor belt. I didn't know we had to pick up our luggage and go through customs with our luggage. So we left our luggage in New York, didn't even know we get to Portland and we don't got no luggage. Other than our carry-ons, which was good. We had our carry-ons, but So you want to make sure you get.
Did you ever get your luggage?
Oh yeah, yeah, we got it back. I mean,
It's
they
an
just
evidence in the police station or something.
yeah, yeah. The they took all the drugs out that we were carrying back, but other than
And
that,
the illegal weapons.
the illegal weapons. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. All right, we're just joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would really encourage you if you do travel to Europe, get the insurance, and if your flight is delayed and it falls within the EU's parameters of what they will cover, they will force the airlines to pay you back the cost up to 600 euros per person per flight, depending on the distance. There's different requirements, and we'll put the links in there for the EU thing, and then you'll have to, depending on where you go. I don't think we're going to put all the links to the different the different nations that you fly to, but you can find out. They'll tell you where to click. You just go down and hit, and you fill out a form, and get all the information, receipts, that kind of thing. Make sure you have proof of your tickets and
keep your receipts.
Yeah, itineraries will work. You may have to provide other things, and they'll fill you in on that. But like I said, takes a little bit of effort, but it's well worth it in the end, because a few months later, whether it took me 8 months to get it back, but it was great. It turned up. Matter of fact, it was funny. I thought, whatever happened to that? I did that forever ago. So I applied in January, and we got our checks in I think it was early August. So
just in time for Christmas.
Just in time for what is it? President's
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day. Perfect.
You're not going to be working on Labor Day, so you'll need that extra $800, $1,800 to pay for your barbecue, and get the guy from
Jimmy Barbecue.
If Jimmy Barbecue's on the run, maybe he'll cater your event for the money you got back.
I think that's his name. But anyway, it's unique.
Man, that is an amazing story in itself.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's all it takes,
Yeah.
and we'll put the links down in the video to the site you have to go to, fill out the paperwork. And there is a series of different, and you'll have to submit, take pictures of forms and email them and that kind of thing. But it's all pretty self-explanatory, and if you can use a computer, you'll figure it out. So.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Great info, and we hope everybody gets a chance to go to Italy.
Yeah, there's good stuff going on. I mean, talk about a great place to go. I'm looking forward. We're hoping to get back this. I don't know if we'll make it this fall. We're hoping to make it back this fall, but we'll see.
All right.
All right. Adios, amigos.
Ciao.